Hey, everybody. Hi, it's Becky from Power Tools with Thread. Good morning. Great to see everybody here in the chat. Lots of new friends and old hanging out in there. This is a virtual stitching retreat where you follow me along on my sewing journey, and I hope I inspire you to put something under the needle and get busy. It's time, right? Stop procrastinating. Great to see everybody here in the Stitchuation room. Oh my gosh, there's so much going on. Today is the big day. I cannot believe it. We have been planning this event for months and months. So today is the day we leave for El Campo, Texas to the Lost Lagoon RV Resort. And we've got like 40 RVs-ish, 35, 40. We got people coming in cars too from all over the country. And they are going to descend on El Campo, and brace yourself. So it's going to be a wonderful RV sew together. I cannot wait. So great. Well, it's great to see you too, Cheryl. I'm glad to be here. Frito's around here somewhere. Frito. So, okay, Frito's not here. Let me tell you what happened. That poor dog, poor dog. Daddy made a brisket last night. Daddy dog made a brisket. And he brought it in this morning, and the entire house smells fantastic. So I guarantee you he's in there trimming it or something. And you were sewing this morning inspired by me. Good, Patricia. Yay, good for you. You're a good example. I'm proud of you. That's wonderful. Yeah, so I'm sure he's in there trimming it, and Frito is nearby in case anything drops because she's already had a little bit. Oh my gosh, you guys. I couldn't stand it. I had to go snitch some. My husband, I tell you what, there's a reason I keep him around. He's one heck of a guy on the pit boss, I'll tell you. Fantastic. I told him, I said, bring it in and show everybody what Becky's real kitchen looks like. What's in the real? Yeah, I love brisket too. Oh my gosh, we're going to have some brisket tacos going with us down to El Campo. Cannot wait. I got to go over to the local barbecue place this morning. Yeah. Oh, you guys, I was just telling you about it. Here he comes. He put his hat on, comb his hair. You want to come show everybody? Come over here, babe. Drop it down where they can see. And Frito's right on his heels, you guys. There it is. Look at that. There's 500 people looking at your brisket. Oh my goodness, y'all. Oh, it looks so good. Smells delicious. Nicely done, KT.
What are you looking at?
Frito, you want a goldfish? She's like, heck no. Oh, there she is. She's looking at Keith, looking at me, looking at Keith, looking at me. Oh, I can't wait to get into that. Y'all, we're going to have fried eggs and brisket for breakfast. You want your goldfish, Frito? There you go, baby. That poor dog, look at her. Her nose is twitching. Bless her heart. Close my door when you're done, if you wouldn't mind. Yeah, we got a Dave biscuit. Do you want your Dave biscuit? That's a good girl. Okay. Thank you, Glory, for the Frito. Oh, she's gone, you guys. She ran out of here so fast, she slid on the floor here. Yeah. Ooh. Well, he made one the other day, and it came out a little overdone on the crust on the bottom, but he had kept it at 250 overnight. He puts them on about 7, maybe 6 or so. And so last night, he put it on at 250. And then before we went to bed, he dropped it down to 180. And it just all night long, you guys, it's moist. Oh, it tastes fantastic. Tastes fantastic. Okay, enough about brisket. Woo. Y'all, my nose, I'm telling you. Okay, so she is a smart dog. Finally come to me why your stitches weren't hidden on Merry Christmas, Angel. Broken graphics. Love Stitch Artist 3 fixed it in 2 clicks. You're welcome, Carol. That's wonderful. Yeah. That's the thing. Sometimes you have to have stuff go wrong and you just chew on it. For those of you who don't know, she's doing some snapplique. Yeah, she's doing some snapplique. All righty. So, speaking of No, you already had your cookies. Yeah, you already did, baby girl. Speaking of the retreat, yes. Uh-oh. See? Here we go. That's the way to do it. Yep. That's the way to do it. That's exactly what Keith did. Yeah. That's exactly what he did. Okay. Thumbs up, done. Thank you, Scotty Dog. Frito ran like grease lightning, Michelle says. She did. You can hear her. So today, I'll get to the retreat in a little bit. Today is the second week reveal of the blocks for the Fat Quarter Shop Jolly Bar Sew Along, Quilt Along. So there's all three of my blocks. There's you guys saw me working on that one. The skinny row over here on the side is actually last week's reveal. And then this one, this row is this week's reveal. I like it. It's okay. The pinwheels went together great. I give y'all a piece of advice on those of you that are making pinwheels. I'm just going to give you a piece of advice that worked well for me. So those pinwheels, they start as 5-inch squares because it's a Jolly Bar, which is a 5x10 rectangle. So the pattern, and there's a lot of different ways to make pinwheels, y'all, but the pattern has you draw a line down the center and then stitch 1/4 inch away from the line. That can be, you can get, that method works. Okay. I get a better result. This is me personally. I get a better result. Thank you. They do look happy, don't they, Connie? So I get a better result if I use the seam marker. This is a medium seam marker from Missouri Star, or it's called a 1/4 inch ruler from Creative Grids. I've got this at the Fat Quarter Shop. This is for your big ones, right? I'll put it down here where you can see it against my shirt. Hard to see it up here. You can see it right there. So there's a line in the center of this, right through the center. You can see it on this one better. Okay, you can see it on that one better. So you put the line corner to corner on your block diagonally, and then draw a narrow pencil line down each side of this. And that way you're sewing on the line, right? And then you're supposed to open them up and trim them to 4.5. Well, you'll get a better result. This is just me. I'm not the be all to end all. I've got you quilt police sneaking in and sending me emails. You're telling them wrong. You do you, boo. Okay, so you're on your way? Oh, Dave's heading for New Mexico. All right, enjoy. Land of Enchantment. Love that place. Stationed at Kirtland, 2 years. All right. So what I like to do for my pinwheels to get a great result, beyond a great result. Yes, put the line in the marker, corner to corner, draw 1/4 inch away on each side of the line. And then when I sew, I don't sew on the line. I sew like a couple of threads inside of those lines. So what I'm doing, because when you get finished, do I have one here? I'll show you. So when I have one here, okay. Did I do that right? No, that's a corner to corner. So what happens is if you're drawing on the lines 1/4 inch away from the center, right? And then you sew just inside of those lines a little bit. And it doesn't matter how far inside, okay? Because all you're doing is you're narrowing where you're going to cut, because you're still going to cut corner to corner. But what the result of that is when you open it up, you actually have more fabric available to trim, and you're going to get a cleaner trim. You're going to get a cleaner trim. So that's just a piece of advice. Now, what I did was I took my, you have to trim these 4.5. Where's, oh, it's in here. You have to trim these to 4.5. Yo, this is my Bonnie bag. Okay. Bonnie gave me this bag, and then I put a embroidered bee on it from Designs by Juju. So what I did, this is my big project bag here. There's my Jolly Bar book. This is what the patterns come from right here. I've got this link below. Okay. So what I did, this is a 4.5-inch square up ruler from Creative Notions Quilt Shop. I've got my paper plates and everything in here. Look at that. All ready to go. Everything. Background fabric, whole 9 yards. Ready to go. I'm ready to stitch. I got to have 3 more blocks, or I got to have next week's blocks ready on Wednesday. So I'll be stitching those at the retreat. Okay. Am I using a heat erasable pen? No, Brenda, I'm not on this one. I'm actually using just a little mechanical pencil. Real fine line mechanical pencil. Okay. You'd like to see those seams? Yeah, I can show you. I can show you. That's easy enough. If I could find I need to, maybe a couple scraps. We might do that here in a minute. Okay, so this is a 4.5-inch square up ruler. Let me see. I'm looking for a blank page of something. Here we go. So that's what that looks like. Now, what I did was I took 3 layers of washi tape and I placed it exactly on the half. And what that does is that creates a little ledge. And so I can shove this up against that seam nice and tight and hold it. And then I can trim and trim. But what you've done essentially is when you use this ruler, you literally have a 1/2 inch to cut. Okay. So all you're doing, if you sew just inside of that, is you're just narrowing the 1/2 inch that you have to cut. That's going to be seam allowance. Nobody's going to see that. Okay. It's just a great tip to give you more fabric so that when you trim, you actually are trimming off some and you're getting an exact, because sometimes if you go exactly on the, if you sew exactly on the line, when you open it up, especially when you're trimming when you're starting with a 5-inch block, and then you open it up and you've got a 1/2 inch seam, you got your 1/4 inch seam allowance, right? Both sides. You're at 4.5, pretty much. So all you're going to be doing is maybe tipping some of those points that are on the pinked edge, maybe. Washi tape. Yeah, this is a great tip, Patricia. I do this on, so Charlotte does this. Yeah. So these are great. They're wonderful. They really are. And I like the washi tape. It's a cheap, there's not Tucker trimmer. There's some other rulers that use a ledge. You guys will remind me. Do I have one here? I use it here too. I use the same idea on my Tucker trimmer. This is the Tucker trimmer. No, this is Clearly Perfect slotted trimmer. Same idea with my washi tape. I was able to shove that ledge of the washi tape up against the seam line, right? And then trim exactly like I needed. So I do that little trick all the time. Just 3 or 4 layers of washi tape. Yeah, 3 or 4 layers. There are some, for the most part, there are a lot of notions that are out there in the world that are nice to have, and they work fine, right? But there's a bunch of them. We got a new person. Elaine is here. Welcome. We got a welcoming committee wandering around in the back. What is washi tape? Good question, Judy. Let me go get some and I'll tell you. Do I have some over here? No. I'm going to get some. I'm going to turn my air conditioner down too. It's hot in here, y'all. Hold on. Let's see. Ooh, it's hot. Okay. So washi tape, if you don't have washi tape, you can use painter's tape. Okay. But washi tape generally comes in a more narrow, this is a Lori Holt, her little teapots are on here. Okay. It will come in a more narrow roll, and it's a low tack tape. It doesn't leave a residue on anything. Okay. It's low tack. Works great. You can find it in a gazillion different colors and prints and all kinds of stuff. Lots and lots of uses for it in your sewing room. But I find for the most part, I prefer washi tape for use on the back of my rulers. That's what I use it for. So, okay. Please link to that. What? Hold on a second. Link to that corner to corner ruler. Okay, I will, Bernadette. Sure, I'll be happy to do that. It's at the Fat Quarter Shop. Creative Grids has a bunch of different ones. These are nice because they've got that grippy on the back of them. It's not grippy spray, but it's got like a texture. And these are great. So these don't slide on your fabric. This one slides all over the place. This is a cheap one. So, but it's the right size. I should get another Creative Grids. Maybe if I see Creative Grids, I think is having a booth at Houston. So maybe I'll grab some more of these in different sizes and retire the one from Missouri Star. Missouri Star is better for fabric and whatnot. So will there be a blog on Friday? Yeah. Vlog, video blog, vlog. Yes, there will. I am going to be doing the Stitchuation room both Thursday and Friday. Yep. My blocks are beautiful, Jamie. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm very happy with how they turned out. Very, very happy. Y'all, my points. Look at that. Look at those pinwheel centers. Look at that. Woo, those are pretty. Look at those. Hot diggity, huh? Gonna love that. And none of my seams are pressed open. Somebody asked me today, or it was on a comment below yesterday's video, that the comment below, yes. Deb, I think it's Bayou Blanks. Houston, what's going on and when? Debbie, Houston International Quilt Festival, November, let's see, it's over Halloween and it ends November 3rd, I think. So Survivor starts tonight. I know, I'm so excited. Thank you. I'm like, I think I'm going to have to miss it. We're going to be laying down electrical cords and all kinds of stuff. But we have Paramount Plus. It came with our Walmart Plus membership. So yeah, everybody's excited. Yeah. Medical tape works the same, Ruth. Yeah, it sure does. It sure does. So you guys are making me squirrel. I'm going to quit reading your comments over here. Also, okay, so for the retreat, you guys, and even if you've got a retreat in your future, I linked below to a blog post from A Quilting Life, Sherry and Chelsea. Yeah, Sherry McConnell, pattern designer, fabric designer, quilt designer, blah, 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 blah. Blog, very influential in my life as a quilter. She taught me so, so much. So she put a blog post out this morning that says she just got back from a big event, and she listed and linked to some blog posts, a blog post she did on what to take to a quilt retreat. So if you're ever going to go to a quilting retreat, then she linked to the Fat Quarter Shop's sewing retreat packing list. Okay. It's a PDF. It's a free download. So it jumps you over to the Fat Quarter Shop and you can just download it right there. There's also one from American Patchwork and Quilting that she linked to. So you can take the best of both of these and overstuff your car or your truck and head off to retreat. There's a lot of stuff on here that's missing for me for a quilt retreat. I went to one several years ago, and they did not have a coffee pot in the kitchen. And I guess it's because a lot of ladies have been told by their doctors to lay off the caffeine. I don't know, but I was like, where's your Keurig? They didn't have one. So I purchased a single, one of the little skinny, tiny Keurigs. I bought that. And that stays in my retreat thing. You have to pour the water in for each cup. Kind of like the little ones you get in a hotel. Works fine. But I'm not functioning without my job. I know, right, Carol? She says, no coffee. Oh, my. I know. Do you work on your own? So JC wants to know what you do at a retreat. Whatever you want. So this is a virtual stitching retreat. You go there, and usually they will have beds for overnights. They'll do it for 3 or 4 days or 2 days or whatever it is. And you can bring projects to sew. They have open sew. Sometimes they'll have like what we're going to do. I'm going to have a class on Saturday morning for Snapplique. So you can attend classes at quilt retreats. That it's amazing. There's all kinds of stuff to do. The one I went to had a lady come by to give facials. You have to love that. That was nice. So it's just a sewing weekend is all it is. And you get together with like-minded souls and you make new friends, and it's a lot of fun. Normally they'll have like an ironing station set up like we will. You guys, we can't have irons at our table on our retreat. People are bringing luminaires and stellaires and baby locks with all these big smart brains in them. And we don't need power issues for those machines. So there will be an ironing station. And then those of you that are doing Snapplique, there will be glue sticks provided for you to be able to glue your little applique pieces down. But, so there's a lot of stuff to do there. I met a lady, Mary, at a dime event that was held in the Woodlands, north of Houston, years and years ago. Years, like 2018, long time. And she was sitting at a table around a table adjacent to mine. And her partner on the luminaire, it was when the luminaire had first come out. So it was a long time ago, 16 maybe. It's been a long time. So anyway, she was sitting at a table adjacent to me. And both of us had people at our machine, because we had to share a machine, that didn't know what they were doing. And it was fine. You can learn things from people at these events as well. So it was really nice. And we just kind of met each other. And then because we were so close to one another, our tables were so close. We were like at an L, I was here and she was here. We chatted. And then we had lunch together. And then for 2 days, that was an overnighter. It was in a hotel. And then I had announced that I was going to a retreat at Three Oaks. She lives in the Houston area. And she emailed me right away and she said, I'll be there with you. And so we were roomies at the retreat together. And it was a lot of fun. And I made a new friend. And to this day, we text and we email back and forth and that kind of thing. So there's a lot to be gained from a retreat, a lot more to be gained than just working on projects. So I hope everybody who joins us really has a good time this weekend. So there it is. There's the final week, or the week 2 in the can for the, let's see. It is not crazy. Being with friends and sewing, laughing, and seeing what everyone else is doing is priceless, Betsy. You're absolutely right. It's not crazy at all. I love it. So if you ever have an opportunity, get on your local quilt. You don't have to be a good quilter. You don't have to be at all. You can be brand new. And you can go over, get on your local quilt shops or a local quilt shop, something near you, their website, or give them a call and say, do you have a retreat planned anytime soon? They're wonderful things to do if you're by yourself. Maybe your husband passed just recently or whatever, and you're just wandering around doing nothing. Even if you don't sew, it's a great opportunity to make your brain think of something else just for a couple of days. And they're really therapeutic, very much, very much. Okay. Let me show you what else I packed. Okay, so in here, these are the things I was showing y'all yesterday. You look forward to yours all year, Sally. Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, don't blame you. We're blessed that we have a passion or getting a passion going to make life better for us. Okay, so I packed all my papers and my patterns. Look familiar? To stitch. I'm going to sew a block and show you guys what I was talking about. Here's a couple of extras right here. A couple of extra blocks. I'll show you what I was talking about with that 1/4-inch seam ruler. Okay. And the stitching line. So all of my background fabrics, everything, my paper plates with all of my Jolly Bar pieces. I packed my stitchy stand from Lori Holt. I have a bag right here. This contains all the patterns we're going to make in the Snapplique class and my sample. And okay, I've got business cards and glue sticks and all kinds of stuff like that. Okay, so that's in that bag. Now I have packed, hold on. I'm bringing along my Brother NQ 3700D. That usually sits right here. Gypsy, my travel machine. She's going to be set up as an embroidery machine for the whole weekend. And to stitch on my blocks for next week, you guys know I like to straight stitch. I like a straight stitch machine for that. So I have my Featherweight Shop tote. I'm bringing Miss Texas. Let's see. Maureen says sewing saved her after the passing of her husband. Sewing saved me when my dad passed. Yep. Make sure your brain and your hands do something. Just do something, right? So this contains a nice pouch in here, and inside the pouch is my power cord and my presser, the pedal, foot pedal. Okay. 5 days. Awesome, Pamela. Good for you. 5-day retreat. It comes with some little, you can put this down. You can set your machine on it. You could use it as a project board, whatever you want. I have a project board already in the bus. It also comes, this is a Yazzie tote, I believe. Yeah, this is a Yazzie tote, and it matches so pretty. So I've got my thread in here, and I have a little spool. This is an additional thing a viewer sent me to go on the top, so my thread comes off sideways, which is nice. And I've got some extra needles in here, organ and Schmetz, depending on what works. I have a few extra feet and another bobbin case. I have extra bobbins. I've got some screwdrivers, and I have some leaders and enders. You need leaders and enders on these featherweights. That will help you. That's a thing where you just kind of fold it up and you get to stitching, and then you put your quilt block down and go from there. And if you're not sure how that works, watch any video by Lori Holt and you will see her do that. Okay, this is Miss Texas. I call her Miss Texas because she's a beauty queen. Lady M sent this to me. Da, da, da. Look at this. This is a Singer featherweight. Can y'all stand it? She just came back from the spa, and I am very, very excited, anxious to test her out. So this is nice. Isn't that great? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful paint job. I have no idea who did the paint job. She, Lady M, bought her like this. I think on Etsy. So look at the stars in the hand wheel. Can you stand it? She is a beauty queen. So Miss Texas is going to be there. And I'm real happy about that. Oh, she's heavy. She's an American beauty. Yeah. I know. I had just started my channel and Lady M reached out to me and she said, I've got an extra featherweight. She said she lives not in Texas. And she said, she needs to come home. Would you like to have her? And I'm like, are you serious? Really? Yeah. Let me fly there and get her. I mean, I'm serious. It was nice. And then, so this little tote is perfect. It has a nice metal edge across the top. These are at the Featherweight shop, not affiliated. Yeah. So you guys that are at the retreat will get to be able to see her in person. Yeah, she's gorgeous. I know that paint job. Somebody did a really, really good paint job. It has a couple of little chips, and I was going to fix them, but I don't know. Might just leave it. We all have a few chips, don't we? Thank you. Yeah, you guys. I'm really excited to see her work. So I had stitched on her in the stitch length lever wasn't working. It bounced constantly and wouldn't stay in place. And y'all, the name of the person who is at the spa, she lives over there by Bonnie in Mont Bellevue. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I've mentioned her here. I'm having a moment. They told me that whoever took the machine apart to do the paint job put it back together wrong. Humpty Dumpty'd her. Yeah. So. Okay, let me show you guys what I was talking about with that 1/4-inch seam. So the way you make this is, get that, if I can find it. It was just here. Yeah. So I'm going to take my 1/4-inch seam here. And put the line corner to corner. This is exactly what I've been doing. Where's my glasses? It's exactly what I've been doing for these whole things. Yeah, that was an excellent deal for the featherweight, right? Very generous. Very, very generous. Was very, very grateful. I sent her a Yazzie Quilters carryall as a thank you that I purchased. So I just do the first little bit on mine and the last little bit on mine because I don't draw through the whole thing because I have 1/4-inch seam tape. I've got diagonal seam tape on the bed of my machine. Okay. So I don't draw the whole thing. Let me see here. Okay. I'm going to put these right sides together. So these are 5-inch squares and I would need to, yeah, these are 5-inch squares. And I would need to get these to 4.5. All right. So what I'm going to do, I know I've got brand new quilters watching. This is the way to do this. So the pattern tells you to take a ruler and put it corner to corner and draw a line down the middle and then sew 1/4 inch away. I don't care for that method because there's a lot of room for error in the sewing. Okay. A lot of room for error. Here, when you use a 1/4-inch seam ruler, what you're doing is you're drawing your sew line. And that's much more accurate. Okay. Much more accurate. So now, instead of sewing on the line, like I just told you, I'm going to sew just inside of the line. All right. So let me do that. I'm going to, like, right next to it. And all I'm doing is I'm shortening the inside distance that I would have to cut. What are you doing, Frito? I hear you. No, I don't have any more biscuits for you, dog. You coming to tell me that Daddy's been giving you snacks? Okay. I'm going to draw my, because you cannot see it on the red. I'm coloring on top of my threads. Okay. Focus. There you go. So where the red is where I stitched. And that's giving me an additional 1/8 inch plus or minus ish, okay, of fabric when I fold it to create a piece of fabric large enough to get a good trim, okay? So all I did was I narrowed my distance there where I need to cut. So I still have plenty of room. I still have plenty of room. So I'm going to cut right in the middle now. The pattern has you cut on the line, and I don't like that. Okay. So if you look, I'm just a little shy of a 1/4 inch seam allowance. A little bit shy of a 1/4 inch seam allowance, which is fine. No big deal. Now, I'm going to open these up and press them. This is just tip of the day, right? You'll find a lot of patterns use this method to make half square triangles. And when they do, this is just another way to make them. It's not the best way. It's not the only way. It's another way. So try whatever works for you, okay? All right. Got my handy dandy little, my Steady Betty here. This is a 3-tier cart from Amazon. You can get them at Michael's too. This is a Cricut mini press. This is my seam roll from Gray Rooster and a clapper. So I will finger press these open first. And there's magic that happens in the natural fibers of the wool and the natural fibers of the cotton to give you the flattest possible seam. I love it. Okay. See? Very, very flat, pretty seam. I'm going to do one more. This is how I make my half square triangles. And it's always good to make your blocks a tiny bit bigger and then trim them down. You're going to get the best, most accurate results. Okay, so now, careful. I'm going to set this over here. I don't want to drop that iron. Let me get... Give me some room. Okay. Look at that. How about that, huh? Okay, so here's my 4.5 inch square up ruler, and I've got washi tape on the back of it to create a ledge. And now I'm going to take that ledge and I'm just pushing it up, and I can feel that it's locked. Block lock rulers, that's what they're called. I can feel that it's locked against that seam. Look how much extra fabric I have all the way around now. I'm right on the edge of the fabric here. So now, because I sewed just inside of that line, look at all of the extra fabric that I have to trim. And I'm going to get a perfect 4.5 inch. So what I do is I will make sure I've got fabric. Oh, I'm missing some right down here. Hold on. So I'm going to move that center line to the other corner to make sure I've got fabric all the way around. I'm 32nd of an inch down here. Barely any down here, right at that corner. So let me move it just a tiny bit more. Okay. So now I've got fabric around all 4 sides. If you do it the way the pattern says, you will not have, you'll be eking by to get fabric on all 4 sides. So I go right up the side. Look at my fingers. They're way away from the edge. Sometimes I even hold like this and across the top, and then I rotate it. This is the best way. Across up the side and over the top. And that's how I cut. And look at the perfect corners. See that cuts exactly on the corner. And the reason it's exactly on the corner is because of the washi tape ledge on the back of this square up ruler. Okay. That's how that works. So there's one. So the seam allowance on this is going away from me. So I'm going to push the ruler, that center edge, away from me to nudge it and lock up on that little edge. I would not have near the room that I do. Okay. So if your cutting is not accurate on these points, that's where you're going to get narrow seam allowances on your pinwheels. Lock that. I wish they made a little one that had that handle that I like. Okay. So now I'm going to lock these together. Hold on a second. You like that rotating cutting mat? Yeah, Brenda, that's a Fisker's. I picked that up at Walmart, I think. They've got them at Fat Quarter Shop, I think. But yeah, I got it at Walmart. Okay. Now I wish these were 2 separate colors. I'm sorry, you guys. I didn't have an extra one of the other color. So now you can see my points are perfect. Top and bottom. This is going to make a perfect nesting pinwheel. Okay. So you can see the pencil line, how far away it is from the seam line. Stitch inside the seam line. And now they nest perfectly. I'm just going to butt these up against each other and make sure that they are very, very good friends. And I'm going to pin horizontally because the seam is already at a 45. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to make a line in the seam allowance so you guys can see it. That'll help. Okay. I had a request. Show us how you do your pinwheels. Whoop. Oh, I did the wrong corner. Let me see here. All right. I did the wrong corner. You want your seams to nest. Don't press them open. I do not recommend pressing your seams open when you do this. That's just me. I don't get a good result. You do you, okay? If you can get accurate seams nested by pressing them open, I'm in awe. All right. Okay, I've pinned it. And now I'm going to sew it together. Start with an accurate 1/4 inch seam at the top. It's wanting to dance around. Over the pin, lock that seam. See the red? Perfect. That's how you do that. That's exactly how you do that. Results speak for themselves. So give that a try. Show off. Carol, show off. Yeah, it's my program, Carol. Perfect pinwheels, dead on. That's right. So you guys, that's just little things that you learn along the way. And if you're watching the Stitchuation Room, you're gonna learn a lot more along the way, right? Alternate methods. So Pamela says she tried pressing her seams open and did not like the result. I don't either. Now, I'll tell you too, if you press your seams open on pinwheels, did I press one open? I did not. Okay. So if I press my seam open on this pinwheel right here to make it flat, I can see daylight through it. You know what daylight is? It's a hole. You are better to use the proper pressing tools, like a seam roll, a wool seam roll, this big bad boy right here. Use the proper pressing tools of a seam roll and a clapper to achieve very flat seams. The whole point of pressing your seams open is to get a flat seam, but I can get the same flat seam using the proper pressing tools. So I am in the camp of not pressing my seams open. I know some of you are diehards, and that's okay. That's okay. That's not me. That hole scares me. Yeah, when it's in the quilt, you'll have batting behind it and all that. It's still a hole. Have I done a wool quilt via snap-a-kay? No, Pamela, I have not. I live in South Texas. We don't have wool down here. You're not a diehard. You're confused, Carol? Okay, that's all right. Seam roll and clapper equal game changer. Yes, Carol, you're absolutely right. Well, Patty's got another good point. If you stitch in the ditch with your seams pressed open, what are you stitching on? Nothing? Batting? Okay. I don't know where that came from. Mary Poppins, perfect. Free spirit. You're right. You're right. Now, Betty Boop presses her seams open, and she's very good at it, and it works for her, and that's cool. And she's one of my besties. I'm not judging. I'm just telling you what works for me. And I know I'm going to get some email going, you need to quit telling people the wrong thing. I get you get snake waves when you press seams open. Does that make sense? Yes, it does, Heidi. Sure does. Yeah. Because your seam allowances may not be equal, right? And if you press it open, you're going to see. Yeah, you were doing that. Okay, now look at this. Uh-oh, I've got a convert. Look at that. I was pressing my seams to the dark side, and a seasoned quilter told me to press my seams open. So now I'll go back to pressing to the dark side. Sharon, you're perfect. That's right. Bonnie says, you do you, boo. I guess it comes from garment sewing, you know? I think it comes from garment sewing. A pressed open seam is a weak seam. The only thing holding it together is thread. And but that's just me. Yeah, get that seam roll. I got a link below. So you guys, I'm not just telling you to do something. I'm telling you why I do something, okay? Because my way is not the only way and it's not the best way. It's the best way that works for me. And I know we have to be very, very careful in our quilt world because there are people out there who are very, very adamant about this, and they are award-winning worldwide quilters. And God love them, and that's great. That doesn't work for me. That just doesn't. Now, that said, there are some patterns where you absolutely need to press your seams open. It's not 100% rule, okay? But those patterns are really, really advanced. Like the center of getting to know Hugh. You had to press your seams open to make that work because that's what Betty Boop did. Stitch in the ditch wants to know what that is. Bonnie, stitch in the ditch. Stitch in the ditch is where you are stitching in a seam. Where's mine? Not to be seen. So a seam has a high side and a low side. Okay. And stitch in the ditch, I do it all the time when I'm putting on my bindings. Okay. I'm stitching in the ditch. You cannot see the stitch in the ditch. Okay. So when you've got quilt blocks that you're putting together, a lot of times they, it will be, you won't have a high side and a low side if you're pressing your seams open. So stitch in the ditch is where you will go along and just stitch between the seams, right in the seam where you can't see it. That's what I did on my Happy Halloween quilt to attach the Quilt As You Go blocks. Those were all put together as Quilt As You Go blocks because they had batting in them already. And then I put that entire quilt top on a backing on my long arm. I used the long arm to stitch in the ditch, sorta. I missed a lot, but I used the long arm to stitch in the ditch to attach. So from the back, all you saw on the back of the quilt was a grid of where I stitched those rows and columns together. Pressing open is from garment sewing. I have pressed open in garment sewing. Yeah, you do. So, you know, you want to relieve bulk on a waistband in the back when you're putting on belt loops. Yeah. So, okay. So that's just my thought process on pressing seams open. I get an email every day or a comment. You press your seams open? As a rule, no, I do not. I don't. Okay. I think, did I have anything else? Let me check my show notes. I wanted to talk to you guys about something else. Make sure I didn't forget anything. I'll be driving along and I'll be, oh, I need to tell something. And I say, hey, phone lady, add such and such to my show notes. And that way I can remember to tell you guys things. Oh, yes. So yesterday, a viewer asked in the chat about she was having bad tension on her straight stitch machine. Check the comments from yesterday's video, and a viewer put an extensive explanation and checklist on how to check your tension. And that's fantastic. So be sure to do that, you guys. There's always good info below in the comments below the video. A lot of people watch on replay after, and thank you for doing that. I appreciate you. But a lot of people watch afterwards, and they will leave comments below the video. And I read all of them. Keith and I both do. Where did I get my shirt? This is from Corey Yoder's merch shop. Her daughter runs it. Her daughter, Eleni, runs it. That's a Corey Yoder merch. That's different than Coriander, or it's Coriander Quilts merch on Etsy. So that's an interesting thing. Okay, so how do you get the phone lady to update your stuff? What you do, let me get out of this. You go into my lists. You go into my lists. It's this icon. It's a white icon with 3 dots on it. Okay. You go in and you create a new list. And I have a list called shopping. I have a list called show notes. I have a list, called packing. Don't forget, right? Quilt Festival, quilt books. My list of quilt books are a list of all of the quilt books that I have, so I don't buy duplicates. I mean, nobody does that, right? I have rental repairs on our rental house. I have long arm, okay, and I have reminders in there. So what I do, I don't call it a shopping list or a show notes list. I just call it shopping, because if you call it a shopping list, I do it when I use something in the kitchen and it's the last one, or I'm getting down to the end. I'll say, "Hey, phone lady." And Joy Bell, need to tell you that. Add picante sauce to my shopping list, because I've said the word list. The phone lady looks for the list called shopping and says, "Okay, I'll add that to your shopping list." It works great. It's a hack. Send us a list of my list. Send you a list of my list. Somebody asked me, they bought the 1600, and yes, the needle threader is the Pitts. They did not improve that at all on the 1500 or the 1600. Y'all, I use the old school needle threader. That old school needle threader. It's got a little wire. That's all I use. That's it. You can find them in every 5 and dime, Walmart, whatever. You can buy them by the millions on Amazon. It worked fine. Pop that in, put the tail through, pull it back out, you're done. Okay. You have a phone gent? The phone lady annoyed you? Yeah. Well, I say phone lady because everybody knows what that is. If I said phone gent, they'd be like, "What are you talking about?" But I don't blame you. Yeah. I can't say the name of the phone lady because all of y'all's phones will start listening and your watches. I've had that happen. Y'all get to laugh. So I say, yeah. Yeah, it's wonderful. I'll do it. I'll do it when I think of something I want to sew. I just create lists in my lists. And it's a great little hack. Because if I say, add such and such to my shopping list, or it says, "I'm sorry, I can't do that," if I don't have a list created called shopping. So that's how you do that. You got kicked off YouTube. Okay. All right, you guys. This has been a lot of fun. I hope you got a lot out of today's Stitchuation room. We talked about pinwheels and had a great time making, because this one's loaded down with pinwheels, right? Right? There's 3 in that. That's Fat Quarter Shop Jolly Bar. Quilt along. 3 in the middle block, and there's 1 in the 3rd block. So, all right. You guys are hilarious. You are welcome. They're saying thank you for the help. Yeah, this is just me. It's how I roll. Okay, I will see you tomorrow in the Stitchuation room, and it will be at the exact same time, and it will be in the rally room at El Campo. If I'm not in the rally room, I'll be in the motorhome, but I will be there. All right, you guys, this has been a lot of fun. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. Helps the channel a lot. Free for you, great for me. All right. We'll see you in the morning. You guys go sew something. Bye.